Everything looks so weird. What is going on, guys? Welcome to Vinyl Happy Hour. This is season 4, episode 16, and I'm Skyler Davis from CultureShockShop.com, owner of Culture Shock Clothing, Gifts, and Records here in Rockford, Illinois. We've got some great 2021 releases to talk about, and I'm gonna head it off, or end it off, I should say, top it off with this crazy, trippy 3D album cover artwork that I can't wait to show you from one of my favorite bands, one of my newer favorite bands, I should say. I gotta take these off right now, though. It's hard to focus on anything. I just spent some time checking out the album artwork, though, and listening to the album, and it's probably some of the most fun you can have without drugs, and I don't do drugs, so I had a very low bar of standards for that. So can't wait to show that off and some other great new releases. Also, I'm drinking some Ram rum here because I've got some rum because we're talking about Ram 50th anniversary. If you're remotely a Beatles fan, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But that's what's nice about great liquor is that even if it sits around for a little bit, it still stays good. This plantation rum from Barbados, it's a nice enough rum where you can just drink it neat, sip it neat. I don't need to mix anything with it, so really tasty. Anyway, let's roll into this. Every week we like to do a vinyl happy hour, and I'm actually going to be double dosing tonight because there's a lot of great, more in the rock and indie rock realm of things and some metal stuff that I want to talk about, but I couldn't cram it all into one video. So we're going to have a little jazz night special. I'm actually going to be doing a second episode of Vinyl Happy Hour, focusing more on some more jazz releases. Although I do have some blues to mix into this episode, so please watch, part 2 or episode 17 actually is what we're going to put up for the jazz ones. Brand hot spanking new release from St. Vincent. And she actually put out an indie store exclusive of this album. What's really interesting is not only is the indie store version on this color vinyl, as you can see, this is Daddy's Home. It's this kind of slightly clearish, milky-ish record with these black splatters in it. But this is the indie store exclusive. It's also a black vinyl version, but there's actually different artwork. So as you can see, slightly different artwork for the album cover. Unfortunately, the back is the same on both, but I love that. I think that's cool. There's been many bands to do this over the years. Of course, you've seen The Police. I can't think. I'd love to see in the comments, actually. That's a great comment idea. What other bands, classic records can you think of that have done different artwork for the covers? The biggest one I can think of is Led Zeppelin and Through the Outdoor. I was thinking The Fix, most recently too, Foo Fighters did theirs for all the different cities they had featured on the HBO show. So I wonder if there's going to be other versions of this or reissues in the future where there's slightly different artwork from even these two covers. I'm really just going to focus on the indie store exclusive, and that's one of the things we like to feature most on these Vinyl Happy Hour shows are the indie store exclusives. So these are versions that you can only buy from your independently owned record stores and brick and mortar stores. Often there's clear vinyl, or different color vinyl, I should say. This one has different artwork. We also get a poster with it, though. So let's take a look inside. Of course, there's a gatefold, some very cool photography. Probably looks like it's a very gritty, kind of old school New York apartment. And this definitely has a very old school feel. There's an old rock feel to it, an old soul, funk feel to it. I definitely hear on a couple of these songs, especially Pay Your Way in Pain, hits me with a real Prince attitude. But there's definitely moments of, even some Pink Floyd, definitely some David Bowie. Let's check out this poster, though. Doubles nicely as lyrics and record info on the B-side of the poster. So a very cool poster that comes with it. Great packaging, great sounding album. If you haven't heard any of the singles from this yet, check out the full album. St. Vincent, Daddy's Home. There is some some background in it with her father who had some kind of, I guess what they call it, white collar crime or stock market crime, had been in jail. So that's something that had come up in other things in her life and has affected, her on her last few albums. And now he's out. So kind of a play on that a little bit, but not a lot. This is really just her being able to play around and do her thing. Also, I forgot her name, but Donny Hathaway's daughter does some of the backup vocals on here. So it brings in some really nice soul and funk feel to it. Just a really cool album, and definitely a lot of guitar. So yeah, there's definitely a little bit of electronic stuff, but her last couple of albums definitely utilized a lot more electronics. So this is definitely a big, celebration of guitar. Just a cool album. Looks like she had some really cool performances. I love seeing her on Saturday Night Live. I'm sure it's going to be a great live show once we get going with that again. So that was St. Vincent, Daddy's Home, indie store exclusive. Another indie store exclusive from one of my probably one of my favorite bands. I love listening to the Black Keys. So easy to listen to. This new album, Delta Cream, notice it's with a K. They're definitely about the Delta, and this is a blues album for sure. They also had definitely gone with a little more pop on some albums. This Indie Store exclusive is oddly similar to the St. Vincent record, where it's kind of that semi-translucent with black swirls in it. But this is the Black Keys pulling out some of their deepest blues roots. What's really interesting is they're actually not just playing as a duo, which they often do. You've actually got Eric Deaton and Kenny Brown playing bass and guitar with them, who had also, I'm going to hate myself. They had played with R.L. Burnside and another great blues artist, and I'm drawing a blank on that, but these guys have some great slide guitar and great bass guitar playing, who've played with other blues legends. So they're definitely a lot older than the Black Keys guys, but they love to pay homage to the early blues stuff, and they've done a lot with the R.L. Burnside style. That's kind of self-admitted, that's their hugest influence on the type of music they wanted to play. So if you track the Black Keys over the years, which, God, I think this is their 10th album now, so they're almost 20 years old as a band. They started out with that really more raw bluesy sound, went into a bit more of an indie rock and just a little more produced sound, even a little poppier and a little bit electronic. Did their huge tours, became a huge name, and then between the pandemic and probably just wanting to step down that rock star lifestyle, stripped it back to this really great blues album. All covers. You've got, of course, a lot of R.L. Burnside, John Lee Hooker, but half the songs are probably R.L. Burnside songs. So they did a really great rendition of these, and the guitar is nonstop. You can tell that they just played together and love these songs. This is a double LP also, so there's quite a bit of music on it. Great sounding recording. Of course, Dan Auerbach of the Black Keys, the main vocalist and guitarist and founder, is a producer, so he's all about the details of sound and fidelity. I love this little note on the back. It says medium fidelity, so it's not going to be cranked up too loud because there is a little bit of acoustic feel to it. But yeah, cool artwork. I'm sure they love the Delta blues and stuff, so this photo here of this old shop with the Delta word on it, I'm sure was a great idea for them to do for their blues album. But it's cool to see them back again doing more blues stuff. I didn't mind. You know, they're more pop stuff too. But kudos to them, and this is the Indie Store exclusive. So you'll see that little sticker on there, and they also did this on black vinyl. But super cool that they did that. Oh, I need a little more rum because it's time to talk about Paul McCartney. This is the Ram album, 50th anniversary. But this is a very nice, high-quality pressing. I also love that there is a little note saying that, you know, this is a different way of using the cutting lathe to make the masters for these. They actually play that and record that and cut that at half speed. That's why it's called half-speed mastering, because that reduces any other flutter and any other noise that might affect the recording on that. So that's what's special about this. You'll notice it's a little pricier than most releases and reissues, but the half-speed mastering, I trust that this is going to sound good, because now I've already got the 50th anniversary of Paul McCartney's first album and the second album, and now this is the Ram album with Paul and Linda McCartney, and it's a nice gatefold, so I'm certain that the fidelity is going to be great. It's kind of funny listening to this, because this is, of course, the second Paul from the Beatles, not the original Paul McCartney. This is the one who was replaced secretly and nobody knew about. And I think the original Paul had a little more blues and rock and roll and R&B in mind. And this Paul, I'm not even going to get into that conspiracy, I'm joking. But anyway, this version of Paul McCartney, I think really did have a much more, almost, it sounds so fresh and modern actually. Like this could pop out as an indie rock album anytime in the last 20 years, I think. And at this age, you know, 1971, the Beatles were still huge. But this was music he was creating for himself and probably for some of the Beatles fans who might have gotten more into college age and family age, stuff like that. And I definitely think that he's probably the third Beatle now that I've started to catch on to their solo work. I definitely started with George Harrison's stuff. I really like his music, very deep music. And John Lennon did more of the experimental avant-garde, psychedelic. I like George Harrison's even soulful side, too, of his rock and roll and some psychedelic. But Paul McCartney did a little more pop, for sure, and definitely some kind of this softer, folkier side of music even, too. So it's a cool album. It's cool to see the 50th anniversary, and it's cool to see a lot of labels doing great reissues and high quality ones. And I can't wait to talk more about the high quality reissues coming out in my jazz series here on my next episode coming up of Vinyl Happy Hour. So these records are all available at cultureshockshop.com. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and when you check out our description, there is a link to our staff picks, which are where we're putting all of the records we're talking about for Vinyl Happy Hour. The first, I think one of them, Paul McCartney's first album, came out on like Record Store Day, I think a couple years ago, and then two came out a while ago. Those have sold out. So I would jump on this if you're going to get it, because it is getting so hard to find an original copy that's going to be in mint condition. And now that they're doing these half-speed masters, those are great. So next one I want to talk about before I get into some funky stuff in my 3D one, I can't wait to show that off. This is the Zappa Original Motion Picture Soundtrack. This is on double LP, crystal clear vinyl. I haven't opened this and played this yet, but there are a lot of great songs on here and a lot of cool versions of his music and some different masters and some of his like more orchestrated classical pieces and live songs that you can't get on other recordings. So that's really cool that they compiled this and put this together. Please watch the documentary. Zappa is one of my favorite artists, most intriguing people of all time. And I already knew quite a bit about Frank Zappa and read up a lot on him and watched other documentaries. But this one, they definitely really worked with his family on too, and really got into his true archives, videotapes of things that he, you know, people in his band and his family had made. Great interviews, some funny, weird stuff, of course, too. But just the serious parts, like some of the stuff that he did, that he was so opposed to how the music industry was treating people, how this government was treating people, and how he played in Europe, and the Czechs loved him, Czechoslovakia loved him, and he actually ended up becoming their confidant, the representative of the Western world for Czechoslovakia in the United States. It's so strange, such a cool story. I don't want to give more away. Of course, it also talks about some of his court stuff, too, when he was defending free speech and all the parental advisory junk that was going on. So just a real heady guy, had never touched drugs and didn't believe in it, too. So it's really interesting to see the strange creations that this guy could make from a, you know, a straight mind or whatever, a non-drug-filled mind. So super cool. Great to check this out. I would definitely check out the music on here, too. Even if you already have a lot of Zappa, there's going to be a lot of tunes on here that you are going to want to hear, especially those live ones. Now let's do just a little bit of metal before I get my 3D glasses on again. Let's talk about a 3-record set. This is Demanufacture from Fear Factory. This is, I don't remember if this is an anniversary or not. It's 20-something years old, 25 years old. This is a triple LP. I'm not going to bust it all out for you, but I will show off at least some of the vinyl. Let's just check out the gatefold. Fear Factory was somebody who really came to prominence in the 90s for me because of their involvement with Ozfest. They also, I think they played with Slayer. Oh, Iron Maiden. Yeah, they toured with Iron Maiden. These guys are more of like industrial metal, just all that whole. They kind of sometimes even got thrown into this new metal thing, but Fear Factory definitely had a very industrial feel, very, very heavy stuff. And you have a poster of the album cover. Might as well just open all the way up. It's a nice, thick, square poster of Demanufacture. So that comes inside of the record, and you can unfold it, hang it up, keep it with the record, whatever. But this is Real Gone music. Real Gone has done a lot of special limited releases, numbered releases, things you can only get from independent record stores. And they've brought out, especially, it seems like, a lot of 90s stuff and harder to find on vinyl. I believe this was originally once only issued on vinyl, maybe only in Europe, because 1995, you know, was a dead zone for vinyl. It was almost all CD and cassette. But those pressings I've noticed are way over $100, maybe $200 even, way expensive, and usually overseas. Hard to get here or expensive to ship. Super cool. Oh, the other cool thing, yeah, that's right. So disc 3 is live at Ozfest 96. So you actually get the original album on the first 2 LPs and a live set. So definitely worth checking out. Really great job on the gatefold. Really nice, thick, glossy paper. Let's see. Let's get my 3D glasses on now. All right, here we go. Because I wish I could put 3D glasses on the camera for you. This is Doomcraft, huh? Oh, we could try. Oh, yeah, we might. Okay, so this is Seeds from Doomcraft. This is a Swedish stoner doom rock band. Oh my God. I'm not even going to show the vinyl yet. I just want to show the artwork on here. there is like 7 or 8 layers of depth to the art on this, and I just kept staring at it, and it was just so trippy. There's like plants in the foreground, there's rows of like old dinosaur bones, there's more rows of bones and rocks behind that, and then you have this like 3D geometric pattern in the sky, and then these trees in flat yellow behind it. I can't believe how many layers of 3D. This is about as cool as it gets for artwork on an album cover. So kudos to these guys for doing the artwork on this. If you haven't heard of Doomcraft yet, I mean, I'm going to just call it Doomcraft. It's Domkraft, whatever. This is a Swedish kind of stoner rock band, very psychedelic, real fuzzy guitar. The vocals are kind of spoke-talking and kind of howled in a way. But definitely if you're a fan of Sleep, which I am, and Electric Wizard, stuff like that, when these guys get heavy, the guitars just start chugging and troning together. Troning, that's a word now. It sounds like 10 or 20 guitars all chugging together at the time and stuff like that. So even 3D artwork on the inside inner sleeve. Oh, wow. This is so cool. So anyway, I'll let Lauren see if she wants to attempt to play with the camera while I show off the vinyl. So this is, I believe it's an import also, Swedish import. Oh, dang it. Oh yeah, Magnetic Eye Records. I think it's an import. But anyway, it's a Swedish band. I'm just going to say Doomcraft. I'm not going to attempt, except for Bjorn and stuff like that maybe, I'm not going to attempt to say many of the guys' names. But yeah, it's just a great album. They actually, you know, it's not an indie store exclusive per se, but it definitely is, you know, probably going to be more at independent stores. Kind of this magenta colored vinyl. Even the label on the record is a little bit 3D-ish. Oh, I wish I had 2 pairs of glasses. I wonder if we could layer them and give you some 3D effect. But they definitely have this cool, trippy dinosaur thing and skulls on dinosaur bones. The artwork is definitely the first thing that drew me into this, for sure. But the music's great. It's very heavy, too. I was thinking, you know, it's going to be a little more fuzzy, a little more psychedelic. But definitely, you know, they all line in together and get some very heavy vibes going on to this. So, yeah, this is Seeds. I'm sure, you know, Seeds in reference to probably some other drugs of some sort or whatever. Into Orbit, Dawn of Man. It's just a single LP. And that's good. I think that's good. That's a good length for this type of music. Each song is very, very long. You know, the first side just has 3 songs. So you get nice grooves, nice heavy grooves. Definitely had, only a couple albums from these guys. But Magnetic Eye Records and stuff like that has been really good about bringing out some more psychedelic and kind of doom and stoner music. They also did this series of stuff where all these like kind of stoner rock bands did cover albums of Jimi Hendrix and Alice in Chains and Black Sabbath. Those are really cool too. Definitely worth checking out. So just give you kind of one more look. Hopefully you can see the artwork on this cool gatefold a little bit. The best part is the inside gatefold, which you can't see until you get the album and open it up. That was my favorite artwork. Well, I hope you've enjoyed checking out some new releases with me, some indie store exclusives, and this trippy Doomcraft album. Gonna get ready for my double video now, so please go check out our other videos from Vinyl Happy Hour, and these are all available in our link below in the description at cultureshockshop.com. Cheers!